Hey, there we are. All right, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Pat? Here we go, man. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, another episode of The Conspiracy Farm, where, of course, folks, we're not starting the conspiracies. We just add a little bit of water. I, myself, am Jeffrey Wilson, coming to you live and direct with my partner in crime here, Mr. Pat Miletich, UFC Hall of Famer, kicker of asses, putter of people to sleep. What's up, brother?
Well, I think we've got an interesting show, some very good topics, some crazy stuff going on, and let's rock it, buddy.
Yeah, man, there's been a lot. We took the week off last week for the old Labor Day, the Day of Labor. But yeah, in that time, there's been quite a bit going on. I guess this week we're going to, we would be completely remiss if we weren't touching on a little bit of Miss Hillary Clinton and some of her health missteps. During that time, we also had the 9/11 15-year anniversary. And then, of course, Colin Kaepernick and his move has been all over the news. Your choice, champ. Where do you want to start this week?
Well, I think we should start with Colin Kaepernick and his brilliance. Let's rock that, buddy.
Colin Kaepernick and his brilliance. Well, yeah. What's your thoughts, man? It's everywhere. Obviously, if you haven't been, if you've lived under a rock or some troglodytic cave, Mr. Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, has, steadfastly not stood for the national anthem, and that's obviously caused quite a bit of hubbubaloo.
Look, dude. Come on, let's be honest. In law enforcement, I've trained law enforcement for 20 years. Okay? So, in any business, any endeavor, any line of work, you're going to have bad apples. Correct?
Absolutely.
Yes, there are bad apples in law enforcement, but for the most part, everyone that gets involved in law enforcement does it for the most part because they want to make society better. They want to protect people. They want to do their job. So I have a real problem to begin with that. But more than anything, we see Michael Brown being shot to death and his buddy being interviewed on the news down in Ferguson. His buddy, giving an interview saying, Michael Brown said, hands up, don't shoot. My hands are up, don't shoot. And that was the false narrative that everything was run on. That alone, to me, showed that the media was absolutely on board with what we see now with the documents being released. George Soros's millions upon millions of dollars being donated to Black Lives Matter to cause a complete upheaval in society, burning cities, rioting, law enforcement officers being attacked and killed.
With the larger plan to federalize the police.
And exactly, it's the whole agenda is, and it was proven in the documents that he wants to federalize police. Do people understand what's happened in the past, in history, when law enforcement has been federalized? Do people have any, Jeff, do people even remotely understand what happened?
No, I don't.
Psychopath Marxists give the marching orders.
No, I agree, and and from the larger, I kind of try to look at this from a larger perspective myself, Pat. Me personally, my take, and it's just like I didn't really give it any thought. The thing I heard him say was something about Hillary Clinton in emails, so I didn't. Honestly, man, I heard about it. I know kind of the gist of it, but for me personally, Jeff Wilson, we all don't have to see eye to eye. The beautiful thing is our differences. I think the dude was exercising his First Amendment right. Me personally. And you and I are exercising our First Amendment right, being pissed at him or voicing our opinion about him.
Wait a minute. Who was exercising his First Amendment right?
Colin Kaepernick. Was he not?
Oh, hey, you know what? A lot of people have died and come home in caskets with that flag over their casket for him to kneel or sit down on his ass and not honor that flag that they died for. Absolutely. Okay.
No, and that's okay. And see, okay, and I'm just gonna, I love you fucking as long as the day is long. But it's when people do that, Pat, they almost hijack the argument with emotion. You are absolutely right, man. It's, again, my larger person.
That's scary, Jeff. Here's the thing that's scary, is that everything he has seen in the media that's been manipulating his brain was started by George Soros funding Black Lives Matter.
See, all right, again.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, proven in documents, to turn the authority upside down in this country. Now, granted, Are there racists in law enforcement? Absolutely, dude. There's racists everywhere. But to make a blanket statement against the flag of the United States and sit down on your ass during the national anthem, dude, you got to give that some thought. You got to.
No, I do, and I have. Believe me, this is we're going.
You think honestly, if Colin Kaepernick got some information from you and I on George Soros and his funding, and now let's hold on. Let's go into George Soros's background.
Well, hold on. Before, no, there is straight legitimacy to what you're saying, but I'm not couching this in just against the police department. That was, like I said, that was Colin Kaepernick's right to protest, right? This conspiracy farm is your and mine's right to protest. Pat, why does this show exist?
Oh, absolutely.
Because we hold on, bro. Because we recognize rampant shit going on in this country that the police are just a microcosm of it. We're talking about that flag symbolizes more than just a police department. Like you and I talked at your crib. When we had dinner at your crib. Again, thank you for being a gracious host, my friend. But I told you, as we spoke about the patriot, quote unquote, patriot movement and the issues that I kind of had with it, because the people they lament, the founding fathers started their war over taxes. We're talking about, and again, I'm not advocating physical war at all. I'm talking about a government that is notorious for decades, assassinated domestic and foreign leaders, rigged foreign elections, started wars off of bullshit. The stacks of bodies are everywhere, all done in our name under that flag. This isn't an agreement with him necessarily or not, but...
Dude, but you're so much, you're worldly first on all of this history, okay?
To even get into the police department stuff, Pat, we had on Michael Wood, the police department guy. He said those guys, and this is just Baltimore, looked at a certain area after, and you even called it out, social engineered a certain housing area, put them in a certain area, called them animals, referred to that area as zoos, and them as the zookeeper. And that's just Baltimore.
Great point. But here's the thing. None of this would be happening. Now think about this. Give it some deep thought, brother. None of this would be happening if we wouldn't start minorities out on their back foot by telling them that they're less than everyone else, by giving them freebies.
It's more than just the freebies. Like we talked about the social engineering.
It is, though, dude.
That's a huge part of it. That's a tentacle of the beast. We know there's no one thing. That is a tentacle of the beast. The cops are a tentacle of the beast. The federalization of the police department is a tentacle of the beast. All of these things are valid. And I don't know Colin Kaepernick.
Everything.
I don't know if he was, like I said, I didn't get too deep into it. I was looking at a larger perspective of the flag and all that's gone down under the flag, more than just the police. The police are just a part of it. And if we're going to turn a blind eye and act like you said, out of the box, it's not all cops. Like I said, I have family members, friends, but like you said, almost insignificant when it comes to a social agenda or an engineering point that puts good cops not in that inner circle. If we don't recognize in the police departments throughout the country that there is an inner circle that they have each other's back. I mean, we can't be naive about that. The solution will never happen if we can't recognize the problem. Colin Kaepernick sitting down is just a part of it. And like I said, agree, don't agree. The dude exercises First Amendment right, in my personal opinion.
Now think about this. Think about this, though. How do they enforce their laws when they decide, okay, say things get so out of control because of George Soros' funding and he turns his monsters loose. There's riots in every
which he has done.
He's done it. Now there's martial law. How do they get law enforcement to do what they want without being federalized? So that's where, when you call it a minor, just a tentacle, it's actually a massive part of their.
I mean, right. I'm just saying it's just a part of the whole kind of structure here that we talk about all the time.
You know, when I was sitting there, I've been called a Nazi a couple times, and in the past day on my Facebook posts, and trying to explain to people what a Nazi is, and trying to help them understand the background on just George Soros alone. George Soros was a guy during his youth, during World War II, was a Jewish guy turning his fellow Jews into Nazis, meaning turning them over to Nazis,
right,
and letting them take them away in fucking boxcars. So this is a guy who's a billionaire now, who is a socialist, Marxist, a guy that has an American citizenship, who's turning our nation upside down with his funds. And in any common sense world, dude, if there was any president and administration in control right now that had any common sense and any sense of freedom, George Soros would be brought up on charges of treason, taken out, tied to a post, and fucking shot.
Because we know he's he's on the team. He's on the team. But
that dude needs to be fucking exterminated.
No, see, and honestly, Pat, I mean, we're honestly,
look, dude, no, I'm telling you.
I agree.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but that guy is an enemy of the United States of America, and he needs to, at very least, okay, maybe not exterminated. He needs to be thrown in prison for the rest of his. Okay, he's got 3 years left. He's 90-something. Okay, but the guy needs to be gone. His money needs to be confiscated, and the guy needs to be gone because his whole objective is to destroy the United States of America.
Well, and again, this is what we get into kind of the larger structure here, Pat. Okay, I don't know how smart, since we started with Colin Kaepernick, I'm just going to, his avoidance of the flag and what he feels that symbolizes. You and I have some avoidance, even though, we're going to stand for the national anthem, you and I have some avoidance for what that flag symbolizes too, as we articulate.
Absolutely.
So I'm just saying, and the huge part about this, Pat, is what I heard him say, that cops get paid leave to kill people, whatever, we can get into that. But the lack of accountability. Here, I was just doing some show prep today, dude. Remember the Desert Storm POWs? There was like 19 or 21 of them. They sued the Iraqi government and got almost $1 billion, $956 million. Bush 41, Bush 41 went to sued them or whatever. And basically those POWs did not get their dough. And this is under a president that everybody laments so much. Another person, Annie, this is just random shit here. Annie Dukin, she is a chemist from Massachusetts. She just got out of prison. She did 3 years, bro. She tainted upwards of 35,000 to 40,000 cases and put people in jail. This bitch did 3 years. Or what about our boy Brock Turner, the rapist Brock Turner that did 3 months on a 6-month sentence?
My point, Jeff. Jeff, you're making my point, is that you're standing up and voicing your opinion in an eloquent and intelligent way, and in a much bigger scheme of things, where Colin Kaepernick is saying black people are being shot by police officers, I'm going to sit down for the national anthem. That's the simplest, most simplistic.
I don't know if I need to get more hip to his stuff, because I don't know if that's what he was.
That's why he's doing it.
The sound clip I heard was something about Hillary Clinton. He's like, Hillary Clinton's do something with emails and there's no accountability. So that's why I was like raising eyebrow.
At least there's a strain of common sense in him. And you know what? If you and I sat down with him and had an hour conversation with him, by the time we got done with him, I'm sure he'd go, wow. Okay.
And this is the larger, as we've talked about, man. Too many people are lining up for the iPhones, and like you said, and don't have the time to go as deep and get all comprehensive about all of this as necessarily you and I do. We just haven't had a propensity for history and, I guess, quote-unquote conspircy. But,
Wait a minute. A couple minutes ago, did I just call for someone's execution?
No, prank call. I mean, but technically, let's look at it. I mean, treason, and that's what these things are. Fethullah Gulen, the guy sitting here chilling in Pennsylvania.
That's treason. He's
absolute treason, sitting right under the nose of everyone.
Dude, if I'm president, you know how many people are done. Dude.
He's starting to sound like he's starting to sound like Trump now, dude.
People are gonna go, oh, this guy's a Nazi. He is a Nazi. Holy shit! This guy.
Well,
people that are undermining the Constitution, destroying the nation, turning things upside down, the open borders, the globalists that see money. They don't see anything else. They see the global flow of money. They don't see borders. They see, everything imploding and being able to control everything. That's the way it is. Dude.
But this is almost the how it bizarro worlds me out, Pat. Maybe I do tumble down the rabbit hole too far, but all that shit I just listed, the POW stuff, the Annie Rukin, like with the Patriots, like. And I'm not advocating violence, anybody, but what the fuck are you waiting for? The Founding Fathers went to war on taxes. We have wars being started over bullshit. We have executive orders, ordering the indefinite detention or assassination of Americans, on top of all this other shit, assassinating foreign domestic leaders, like I mentioned a few minutes ago. But it's fucking crickets. It's about somehow guns, and somehow we have the gall to talk the fuck about Colin Kaepernick. I guess it's a topical thing, but why can't we talk about all of these? Why is no accountability for any of this shit I just listed? You know, people do have a gripe with Old Glory, man, and we need to keep it 100 as to why people do. We don't, man. We have this false sense of like exceptionalism. Like every country has corruption and shit, but we have a certain massive society, and it's controlled by the freaking media, it seems like, that keeps us ignorant about the real history and almost, you know, the bumps and bruises that we all have. You know what I mean? And we don't want to, again, it's a larger thing in my opinion.
No, okay, now we're going to get into something, okay? So I was on Blaze Radio, probably a year ago. And the reason I was brought on was because on my Twitter account, I said, the only way we stop this is by a tax revolt.
By what? Say it again, I'm sorry.
A tax revolt.
Oh.
The only way you stop it is that everybody who actually pays taxes filing an extension at the same time. On the same day, everyone filing an extension. Now, think about this. Over years, we could go to Danigold. The residents of Worcester rebelled against the Danigold being collected by King. I can't even remember his name.
One of the kings.
They killed two of his tax collectors. They responded by burning the city to the ground, right? Constantinople in the 1100s, something like that. He tried to tax the residents of Constantinople in order to come up with money to pay protection money for fucking King Henry. And the people of Constantinople refused to pay it. Alexios was reduced to trying to collect the sum of stripping ornaments from the old tombs, right? So in several cases, as we go through history, the citizens actually won in these tax revolts, but there were many times where the citizens were butchered in the streets. Okay, but at some point, you have to say to yourself, okay, everybody at the same time, somebody with the balls has to organize a tax revolt and say, everybody in the United States, file an extension on this date, and then here's the next extension, and then here's the next extension, until the politicians are removed, and they do what the people say. And that's literally what this comes down to, because if we don't, Jeff, it's not going to change.
I agree. It's got to be a financial component. We have to start voting with our dollars. And I was on a radio show the other day, and I think, you know, we do have to start getting definitely hip to the larger structure that's going on, and just take it local, man. Start supporting your local organic, your local food, just your local businesses in general that aren't, you know, compromised to the, that aren't basically global.
Absolutely. No, but, you know, that's the thing. It's, you know, just me saying this and this getting aired makes me worry that, okay, when is my IRS audit coming, right? Because it's coming, right? It's probably coming. I'm okay with that. You know, I'll deal with the hurdles that they'll throw in front of me, but it's coming.
Well, that definitely lets you know we're on the right path. And that's the thing, folks. We're not breaking any news here. We're not necessarily, like I said, coming up with new conspiracies. We're just adding water to ones that already exist. So
no, dude. Okay, now I found a list. I found the list that I had from a year ago, right? So think about what you just said about all the pussies in society now. Think of our forefathers, is what you mentioned, what they revolted for, the minor offenses that they revolted for, right? Right. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, compared to what we have now, they would be like freaking out.
So now they revolted for, what was it, a 3% tax on tea or something?
It was some no taxation without representation. It was
right. So we've got the IRS and state income tax, right? That starts the list off. Then you have accounts receivable tax, building permit tax, capital gains tax, CDL license tax, cigarette tax, corporate income tax, court fines, indirect taxes, deficit spending, of course. Dog license tax, federal income.
Well, I mean, even the income tax, that had to be like the last one because they had to jump through so many hurdles. A direct tax was determined unconstitutional so many times.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Hunting license tax, fishing license tax, inflation, which is the worst one, liquor tax, local income tax, luxury taxes, marriage license tax, Medicare tax, real estate tax, septic permit tax. I've got one of those, by the way.
I saw that today.
Taxes, Social Security tax. It goes on, dude. It's as long as my leg. toll bridges, toll roads, toll traffic fines, trailer registration tax, utility taxes, vehicle license registration tax, which is fucking garbage. Pay for my license plates, right? $800
Just did that the other day.
Metal fucking plates on my car. Watercraft registration tax, well permit tax, workers' compensation tax. It goes on.
So it's pretty safe to say
the gun should have gone off along.
And that's just taxes. That's just taxes. I mean, like I said, like I don't know what it is about the Patriots. It's like now we have free speech zones. Now we have, if you don't want to do a breathalyzer, they take your blood. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. That's just among the many other things that are going down that the Patriots, and they talk about, but, it's just pretty silent. But here we are running our mouth about Colin Kaepernick. Which, fine, we can talk about First Amendment, but there's so much other shit we could be talking about, but we're not. Which you and I are. We're about to go on to Hillary Clinton and 9/11, but the general populace, what I see a Colin Kaepernick jersey duct taped down in front of an establishment as a like foot rug, like, cool, man, one for you. It's like, really? Do you know about any of this other shit that you and I are talking about? I know everyone wants to choose their battles, but it's just like, we need to choose them a little bit more selectively right now because there's real shit going on. And I guess that could take us into our second topic of conversation, which is Hillary Clinton.
Oh, do we have to talk about it?
So a little bit of comic relief, though. So she, as a part of this pneumonia, had a coughing fit, and you saw she hawked up a loogie into a glass and then drank it. That's fear factor shit, dude. That's like, I dare you to drink a Hillary loogie, and she did it on her own.
See, now I'll pull you back. I'll pull the reins back on this one. I think those were cough drops.
You think?
Yeah, I think those were cough drops. I think that she had those in her mouth and she coughed them up so she could.
Oh God, I hope so. I sure hope so.
Maybe not. They looked pretty hawkish. I get it, but Halls and a couple other companies make that color yellow green.
Write this down, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick J. Milicic is making apologies for Miss Hillary Clinton's health a little bit.
Yeah, right. No, I'm not making any apologies because, dude, the funny thing is 6 months ago, the pictures of her being helped upstairs.
Yeah.
To where she's leaning like the leaning.
So honestly, I saw a very interesting video last night. A good friend of mine, chiropractic guy, you might know him, your wife might know him. I think he's anyway, Dr. J. Johansson. He practices out in LeClaire, Iowa.
Okay, yeah, great guy.
Yeah. So he sent me a great video.
I get him killed, okay.
He sent me a video that was dated. It was August. It was before this last episode. So it was a pretty comprehensive breakdown of her last, like you said, the last several months of her episodes. And they're saying it's Parkinson's.
Here's
like some of her head shakes and kind of tremors and hand movement.
I've talked to a couple doctors, a couple neurologists, and one of them said, he goes, I don't think it's Parkinson's because there's no signs of tremors or anything else, that would normally come with that. One of them said it could be MS, multiple sclerosis, because of the way she stiffened up like a board before they put her in the van.
Did you see that, though? Did you see that video?
Yeah.
Like, she didn't stumble. Her feet didn't move. They drug her ass.
Look, they said she was dehydrated and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Look, dude, I've cut weight a million times. I've had water sucked out of me like nobody's business to the point where I was pretty close to death, I'm pretty sure. Okay, I've cut a ton of water weight before. I've been on, the 150-mile run I did this year in 95 degree, 95% humidity, and lost all of my nutrients out of my body. I was hosed. I was a wet noodle. Trust me. I was not stiff like a board like her. She was standing up straight as a board, and when they went to move her forward, her legs simply didn't move. They just started dragging.
Yeah.
So she didn't try and step. She didn't do anything. When I was dehydrated, I could keep moving, but I was literally a limp noodle. So I think that doctor's onto something, to be honest with you. I think that it's certainly much worse than pneumonia, although she may have pneumonia now because her health is so bad and she can't breathe hardly or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's much worse than that. And like I said, 6 months ago, the picture of her being carried up the stairs and helped into a building, that shows that she didn't have pneumonia 6 months ago, dude. So there's definitely a neurological disorder that's going on here that's much more serious than a kid.
Well,
which pneumonia can kill you.
You know, of course. I heard Slick Willie on one of the Sunday shows, I think, gave a explanation. He's like, she's had episodes like this before when she's got really, really dehydrated. Like, he kept going with that thing, with that narrative.
He's a moron.
When the story was supposedly.
He actually said this has happened quite often.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you say that?
Life's health is shit, basically.
Right. Exactly. It's like, damn, you must want to see. Okay, so that was my next question for you. Like, why? Like, she's clearly done for. Why? And I broke something last night, which I don't know how much legs it really had, but the DNC having an emergency meeting trying to get rid of her and put in Biden.
Dude, who knows? Did you see the metal apparatus that fell out?
I saw that. I don't know what to make of that. Like, I don't know if it was a pen she dropped or what. I don't know.
No, dude.
So anyway, what he's talking about, there's a video of Hillary Clinton, and there's apparently something that comes out of her pant leg. If you can go
an insert for a colostomy bag, who knows?
That's people. I've heard people say that. Something about a catheter. Who knows?
Catheter, exactly. Yeah. So you don't know. But here's the great thing is that I don't think it matters, dude. I think that the DNC is freaking out because, dude, when I've seen any independent poll taken outside of the media, meaning on Twitter, Facebook, where you can just click and vote, Donald Trump is upwards of 80% in every single poll I've seen, right? The Electoral College has Hillary Clinton ahead. Okay? Do you realize if 80% of the United States people that are going to vote, the citizens that are going to vote for Donald Trump, and the Electoral College picks Hillary Clinton, do you realize the heads that are going to roll when patriots freak out about this? Because if the numbers are truly reported, which they probably won't, but if you get even 65% Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton 25 and somebody else 10 or whatever.
Please not Gary Johnson. The fucker don't even know what Aleppo is.
Right. And the Electoral College has Hillary up. Do you realize the heads that are going to roll?
I'm literally, like I said the other day, dude, on this video I did, we're in so uncharted territories. Like, is she able to, I'm wondering if she's able to make it to election day, let alone 4 years.
Dude, I want them to hit her with IVs every day. I want them to put her on every steroid possible to get her healthy enough to make it to the debate so that she collapses and falls flat on her face to show the American people how sick she is. And you know what? Look, a lot of people out there, especially liberals, would listen to me say this and say, dude, you're a sick son of a gun, right? You're a sick son of a bitch for thinking or wishing this for Hillary Clinton. But here's the beautiful thing about it that they need to remember is that they've lied all along.
Yeah.
They've lied about every part of it. And the beautiful part about the lie, where they got paid back, was on 9/11 when 4 Americans died in Benghazi, Libya, where they were running guns through for the fucking ISIS terrorists, right? 4 Americans died on that day.
And that's just one. Yeah.
And she didn't answer the phone. It's kind of ironic that she had the falling out on that day, brother.
Well, I mean, that alone is definitely egregious. But as we've talked about, and I think on our last episode, we went back to Arkansas. This shit starts, 30, 40 years ago. These guys have been stacking bodies, doing dirt for a very long time. And that's why, me personally, as a history guy, I feel like I know her history. I'm not saying better than most people, but she has a very extensive history of fucking darkness. This chick is Cruella de Vil incarnate, man. And she can...
Dude, you've seen the posts on Facebook that I put up. You've seen the conversations I've had with some of the psycho liberals. I won't even mention their names. But they're losing their mind that I'm even mentioning this stuff about Hillary Clinton. They're so brainwashed that they think Hillary Clinton, or the D behind her name, Democrat,
right,
they're so loyal to it. They don't give a shit if America implodes. They're going to vote Democrat, dude. And you and I are bright enough to recognize the Republicans and the Democrats who are in the uniparty, the globalist party,
the oligarchy
country, and those son of a bitches need to go. But these people are so brainwashed. I'll recognize Lindsey Graham needs to fucking be put out the pasture, right? John McCain, as much as I respect what he did as a prisoner of war, which was an amazing feat. Wait until all of his other guys were released before they released him.
See, I've heard shady stuff about John McCain. How his dad was like an admiral, higher admiral.
Sold out. He sold out, just like many other Republicans and Democrats have. And dude, I'm telling you, they need to be put out the pasture. And I don't know what goes on in Washington D.C. to where you get Mia Love and all these other new Republicans that get brought in that say they're going to stand up, they're going to control the purse strings of Obamacare, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and they sell out, dude. Something happens where they get scared.
I mean, and that's historically happened. That's what I'm saying. It's the beast, dude. It's not the United States of America, little letters. It's the big United States of America corporate. Like, this is a machine, dude. This is a business, and they will do anything to maintain that business. You think of how shady the mafia gets when they maintain whatever fiefdom they have. This is a way bigger business, global, multinational, and anybody who has the best intentions talking about change, like everyone. I mean, the Obama thing, dude. Whatever. We won't get into it, but that shit was laughable to me. That was laughable.
We need a bunch of guys who are friggin' former SF guys, special forces guys, to run for every seat in all the houses. And just say, we don't really care if you're trying to kill us. Fuck you.
So what's his name? Not Ted Kennedy,
but the way it needs to go, dude. It's that bad.
Well, there's I don't know, man. There's definitely some crazy shit going on, especially with this election. It's so weird. This last week, I was already wondering what the heck's happening with Hillary. Hillary's gonna fall out. The DNC's not gonna have anybody, and he's gonna go for third.
Who knows, man? I wouldn't put it past. Look, people are gonna go, "Oh dear God, I can't believe he said that, Pat." Would you honestly, as evil as these bastards are, would you put it past these people to get Hillary that sick on purpose?
I was thinking that. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a brief glitch in the system, aka NSA shutting us down. But yeah, no, Hillary Clinton, just finalizing that topic. Yeah, there was a bit of a conversation about a body double. I don't know if anybody out there heard the body double. The person who left Chelsea's apartment was not Hillary Clinton, apparently, supposedly. Anybody heard that? But you had something you were saying off air, Pat, that you had some news to break.
No, what I would love for, and Jeff, you can keep track of anybody that sends specific questions in. Let's answer some of the listeners' questions.
Yeah, feel free, guys. Send in any questions, and I'll see them here there we go. Okay, go ahead. Breaking story.
The breaking news is that Chelsea Clinton's, and I've actually done some research on this, and people have sent me messages on it, that Chelsea Clinton's multi-million-dollar condo in New York City, in downtown Manhattan,
is owned by Donald Trump.
No, dude. Is the exact same mailing address as a listed medical facility. So is that place set up to keep Hillary Clinton alive? That's
look at that.
That's as far out on a limb as I will go.
That's conspiracy farm goodness right there.
Dude, they pulled it up. Do a Google search on it, and find out about the exact mailing address of the medical facility that matches the exact address of Chelsea Clinton's condo in New York City.
What are they? Did you see what type of medical facility? What type of medicine they're practicing? Does it say? Is that, or do you not want to tumble?
I did not notice that.
I mean, it could be like a plastic surgeon or something. Who knows?
No, dude. It's the same suite.
Oh, not the same building. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, right.
It's the same suite. Building, suite, everything.
Holy shit.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Well,
it's got a mailing address, two mailing addresses, or the same address for two different entities. But one's getting IVs and Parkinson's disease medication.
It's so, again, man, I think it's so interesting because I think the establishment probably knows she's still sick, but they're still going with her. I find that fascinating, and I think they had to have known she's sick because this has been going on for a long time. And obviously,
tells you here. All right. Hold on. All right. So I'm trying to find the. Okay, so Chelsea Clinton's apartment, Whitman, 21 East 26th Street, Flatiron District, New York, and Metro Care Home Services Inc., 21 East 26th Street, same thing, same address, same floor.
Whoa.
Same apartment.
Huh.
Only one apartment per floor, my friend.
What's that about?
That's what I'm talking
Ooh,
about.
some shit to investigate. You got me something to chomp on, man. After today, I have to check that out. Well, I mean, clearly something's up with her.
I'm thinking that the medical facility necessarily doesn't exist. It's just a room set up in Chelsea's massive Manhattan apartment to care for her mother.
A little space to keep her mom alive, like you said, essentially.
Right.
Wow.
Dude, no, but here's the thing: is liberals will go to any extent to protect their own, which is, to me, the level of loyalty that they have is impressive. It really is.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's incredible. So if, in terms of a conservative doing something wrong, Bill Clinton level conservative who's hanging out with billionaires and raping teenage girls, right? Getting them drugged up and sitting on an island and with this billionaire, all these sex parties, everything else. Dude, that conservative would be butchered by both sides of the aisle. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, you still have your conservative. I mean, like I said, the right left thing. They're all blackmailable. They all have their thing. I get conservatives kind of like the boys and the dudes.
Yeah.
Whereas the liberals are more hookers.
We're at Greek level and Rome times of financial crisis and boy lovers. I get it, but what I'm saying is that the level of loyalists in the Liberal Party where somebody can break the law and not be held accountable because of the agenda. The person is on the army and on the direction of the army to achieve the agenda. They're not held accountable. That's what I'm talking about. And I think that's what's always gone on with the Clintons, no matter how many things they've done wrong. They've been selected, dude. They've been selected.
I mean, I agree, but again, you could say the same thing about the Bushes. Their ties with the Bin Ladens. I mean, it's just.
I agree.
And the corruption is not mutually exclusive to any one party. That's, I think, what people need to get hip to, quite frankly, because it's just everyone has their own flag to wave, and they don't look for information. They look for affirmation to their position. Like they just fuse it out. If like you just said, you sound like a liberal. When a liberal might have some good points. They might be, like I said, we get too caught up in like right left when sometimes we're speaking the same language, but sometimes we're definitely not.
Well, and Cody, one of our listeners, Cody Vidal, said, hey guys, talk about Gotti and Chaffetz and guys like that who actually grilled Hillary, who stuck to their guns, guys who were good conservatives. Dude, I love Trey Gowdy. I mean, I could listen to Trey Gowdy grill these people all day long. I mean, you've listened to him, right?
Is that a senator or is that somebody in Congress?
He is a beast, dude. That is the best.
Is that the like salt and pepper haired kind of slick back? I watched quite a bit of
Southern attorney.
Yeah. So I think from South Carolina, maybe.
If I ever commit a crime, I don't ever want that dude prosecuted. He's done.
Yeah, I watched some of the cats on about the email stuff today with Hillary, the congressional hearings today, and he was definitely one of them.
Trey Gowdy is absolutely a badass. That guy, dude. I want that guy in my cabinet. If I'm president, if I'm Trump, Trey Gowdy is in. He's the head of my DOJ, dude. He's butchered.
Yeah, he's no joke. But I mean, like I said, watching that whole thing today, it was just more just clearly seeing how this, again, not to harken back to the police thing, but how the system sometimes will protect the system. You just saw how they just.
Well, that's where you have to minimize and shrink the system, dude.
Right, agree.
A president has to come along that's going to go, no, there's really no more need for a Department of Education. The states can handle that. The communities can handle that, right? We'll not take federal funding anymore from the states because we don't need to do that to them. They know how to educate their own children, right? Just something that simple. The EPA being federally controlled. I mean, it's grown from
It's a beast.
All these different departments of bureaucratic nightmares into now they control our health care, and now they're attempting to take over law enforcement. Dude, do you realize how bad it gets when they take over law enforcement and give them marching orders?
I mean, you know, we're one step close to, or we're a few steps away from it. Like we talked about the other day, and you and I have talked about, you know, everybody is at what you just said, you know, federalization of law enforcement, George Soros funding it. People don't, again, that ADD kind of thing, they just think moment to moment. They don't think that larger perspective, but you're absolutely correct. And when you look at what's going around socially, literally, black against white against black, Christian against Muslim, Americans against immigrants, be it Muslim or south of the border.
And Jeff, none of it's happening by accident.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
On purpose, dude. It's everything is nothing you're seeing politically or domestically, geopolitically, around the world. Nothing is happening by accident, folks.
This is why I say my larger point was that we're leading towards something larger. There's something these last several years of getting us all at each other. We can't kill one another if we see each other as human beings. So we have to have all of that stripped away before they really bring the hammer in and have us all going at each other. I know that sounds dire and apocalyptic, but I truly think that's what's going on.
Jeff, God, you're tanner than I am. I have to kill you.
But dude, you have people who would fall for that shit. You know what I mean? The mud people or whatever.
I had a chick that I went to high school with. I won't say her name. Latino girl, calling one of my friends and me Nazis, and then I had to go through and explain to her about Soros, about my wife. The simplest terms were, dude, her name's Celia. I go, Celia, my wife came here from another country. We had to sit in immigration offices from the Quad Cities all the way to Omaha. We had to pay the fees. We had to jump through all the hoops. We had to sit in the meetings. We had to go through the questions. And she did everything legally. Why shouldn't everybody else have to do that? You're offended because Donald Trump says things to you that you think are mean, when actually he's saying we need to secure the borders. We need to get rid of the illegals who are costing this nation billions upon billions of dollars. We need to get rid of the criminal illegals first, get them the hell out of here. And we need to halt Muslim immigration. And people can call me a racist all they want, a bigot, whatever.
Islam's not a race, of course.
Right? So you can call me anything you want, but
Islamophobe.
Get things figured out to find out who is an extremist and who isn't. Because at this point, Obama's going to flood them in. Clinton's going to flood them in. And we're talking 1 million at least into this country in a sudden shot in the arm. Dude, we don't know who's who.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, we're just going to have to reiterate it because we might have new listeners. People have to at least understand that there is a problem with the immigration and with not just Muslims necessarily, but there's an agenda. There's a huge destabilization. We call it Gladio B. It's been called Gladio B about Islamic fundamentalism essentially being financed by several states going around destabilizing different parts of the world to create shit, so it becomes a problem reaction solution, and they're coming here. They're going everywhere.
I'll let you continue, but it's a much bigger picture than just getting Democratic votes.
This is global. This is global. This is going on in the provinces of China. The stands over in Russia. This is going on in Boko Haram in Africa. This is going on absolutely everywhere in the world because, like I said, the whole ADD, you and I, moment to moment, day to day, our plans, these guys are mapping shit out in 50, 100-year increments, generations.
No, they've had their plan all along.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I think we probably have mentioned Albert Pike's 1871 letter.
We need to dedicate a whole episode to that because we're running up about 10 minutes to the hour. So we need to, like I said, hopefully not to put him on blast because you said we can do it. You and Michael Chavello, maybe discuss that in depth because you guys are way more hip to that, more informed in that. But essentially is Albert Pike, who was the founder of, I think, Scottish Rite Freemasonry, Confederate whatever was he, Pat? Confederate officer.
He was a Confederate general, yeah. And,
okay, wrote a letter, yeah.
Consider him the guy that orchestrated Lincoln's assassination, and then he was pardoned by Lincoln's successor, and then brought brought Lincoln's successor into the fold with their group. Here's the thing, though. I'm a Freemason. And I truly believe, because of dealing with Illuminati people, and yes, the Illuminati do exist. The Illuminati are not true Masons. True Masons are the guys that fought in the French Revolution, the guys that fought in the American Revolution, that fought against tyranny and oppression. Those are your true Freemasons. But there are Illuminatis out there that feel that global domination and their special interest in the world and their uniqueness in the world to control the world does exist. And trust me, they are out there. I've dealt with guys, I've had conversations with them, guys who are very, very wealthy, guys who control Rothschild investment groups, things like that, who are seriously messed up. I mean, these guys are sick individuals, and they're powerful enough to influence our politicians. So I'm of the other camp. Michael Chiavello is of the other camp. We're the Freemasons who stand for the good, and so people need to understand that. I don't even know if these other guys truly are Freemasons. They could be part of clandestine lodges, whatever it is. But Albert Pike's 1871 letter. A lot of people argue that it was not Albert Pike's letter, but nonetheless, it was discovered, I believe, right after World War I, which would negate the paragraph about how World War I would be brought about, but it would not negate how World War II and World War III would be brought about. But in that letter, it talks about the Jewish state. It talks about before the Jewish state ever existed. Talked about the Nazis before they ever existed. Talked about the Muslims versus Christians and creating World War III and bringing out the atheists and the psychopaths to turn society upside down, so that there was no unity before things happened. So people can Google search, just do a Google image search on Albert Pike's 1871 letter and read it. And by the time you get done with it, you'll go, holy shit.
Right. It's definitely deep.
Serious stuff, dude. And they will say, my God, this mirrors exactly what's going on right now. Mind you, it was written in 1870.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was quite fortuitous. You know what I mean? They had quite a bit of stuff mapped out. And that's why I want to get into it with you and show a little bit more in depth, because that's a heady one right there. Because you're talking about 3 different world wars that were pretty much prognosticated by
the Illuminati, the controllers of the financial system and everything else under it, right?
Yes. Wow. Mad depth. Well, we can get into a little bit of the 9/11 anniversary. We kind of a little bit touched on it. I guess I don't know if you want to just stop at an hour, but we
can keep going.
We had our 15th anniversary, obviously, of 9/11 the other day, which has spawned so much here in the last 15 years. War in Afghanistan, war in Iraq, it's just absolutely Syria now. The Middle East in general. My cat clearly doesn't like it because he's going off. But yeah, it's crazy, man. I have so many mixed emotions about it because it was such obviously an amazing tragedy. But again, when I look at it with my hat, just the senselessness of it. None of those people needed to die. The hundreds of thousands in Iraq and Afghanistan, in my opinion, did not need to die. I feel I wouldn't necessarily. It was, in my opinion, a bit of an orchestrated event to set in motion everything we've seen in the last 15 years. And like I said, they're not even done. We still got another probably 20, 30 years. But Islamic fundamentalism is real. But in my opinion, they wouldn't be near as effective if they did not have so many different forces helping them out.
They wouldn't be as powerful had they not been funded by certain groups.
Going back a long way, not even before the Mujahideen and Osama bin Laden and the Russians. This has been going on for a long time. Like Lawrence of Arabia, the radicalization of the Wahhabis, if you will, that happened a long time ago, and it's right. A chess game, not checkers.
Now you made me forget what the hell I was going to say, but wow, I drew a blank there, buddy. I was sitting there holding it.
That got me rambling. You forgot it.
apparently have been hit in the head too much.
Well, like I said, it's a bad day, and there's so much that's come from it, and they're not even done. It's like we still have probably this next phase with Russia and the stands and Ukraine and Syria. Like we have it, and honestly, the Spratly Islands, which nobody really talks about, the stuff going on with North Korea and South Korea, South China Sea, the Spratly Islands, and China.
China building islands.
Yes, big deal, man. It's a huge deal that obviously just is not even obviously on the radar over here, but it's
you just consider since since I can remember as a kid, 1972 Munich Olympics. I watched that live. The attack on the Israeli athletes.
Yes.
The extremists killing the Israeli athletes, and it's been going on, as you said, long before that. But now that they've been armed and funded by Western groups and Sunni nations, things are taking a whole new turn. And I think that which general was it? Wesley Clark?
Yes. Yeah, we didn't mention that last time, I don't think, and I wanted to. Go ahead.
We talked about it, but his story about the document from Department of Defense, one of the members of the Department of Defense saying that we're going to take over 7 nations in
5 years.
5 years. It's taken us longer than that, and we've gone over this, but they've all been hit except Iran. Iran is the last country to get hit.
So, and that was I forget what year that was, but go check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Wesley Clark's visit to the Pentagon. There's a video of it. He speaks. There's a few video where he talks about running into people at the Pentagon and them having plans well before we even got into any of this about, like Pat just said, taking over 5 countries in 7 years, or vice versa.
And by the way, sorry, have we gotten any questions from anybody, or did we
just more comments? Yeah, we got a lot of people just commenting. Love the show. Keep it up.
Comments. Let's talk about what are people saying.
Just love the show. Keep it up. You guys are awesome. Like, just
hear that. We want some criticism. We want to
right. You guys suck. What? It's hard to.
You have liberal friends. Where's Nicholas?
Right. Where's NC at? Chime in. It's only 8 o'clock out there in old La La Land too.
Nicholas has issues. We want to talk to him.
But we need to get into that and start taking calls and more questions. But something you had mentioned before we went on air, you also wanted to talk about Saudi Arabia, obviously, as a funder of all of this. But it's so weird, and this again gets back to the accountability and bizarre world we fucking live in. Those guys are like one of the biggest human rights abusers and all of that. But there are like ace over there in the Middle East. How do we rationalize that to ourselves? Like, how are we cool with not taking our government to task on this?
Well, I know that.
But yeah, we're fucking cool with criticizing Colin Kaepernick.
Right. We're spending all our time on that, but not the guys that rape women and then stone them to death for being raped. But several Democrats and Republicans have introduced a bill to defund and stop the $1.5 billion arms deal going to Saudi Arabia, and I pray that the American people get on board with that and start messaging and calling their congressmen and senators about it, because Obama's all for it. Obama's all for letting the deal go through. I think he's even said that he'll veto anything that they do to stop it in terms of Congress and the Senate. So our commander-in-chief is all for arming these people and giving them more weapons to bomb the shit out of Yemen and other places. But people need to wake up, because the Saudis, it's been tracked, funded, trained, and sent these guys here that performed 9/11. I think out of the total number, what was it?
19.
17 or 19 guys were Saudis?
And that's what I'm saying. Isn't that just part of the just basic bizarro world? It's like, Pat, you punch me in the face, and then I go fight Matt Hughes because of it. It's like, dude, let's fight Pat. He punched me. Like, we just went.
Exactly.
It's just bizarro world.
And now let's take it even further. 20% of the Clinton Global Initiative, Clinton Foundation, 20% of the money that has flowed into that comes from the Saudis.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, again, this is how, fuck, guys. If you, again, go back to our last episode where we talked about the Arkansas Development Finance Authority, BCCI, the Bank of Commercial Credit International, all of this shit is for washing money, drug money, arms money. I mean, this is the network, baby. This is the network.
You know what's even worse? That on September 30th, the Obama administration hands over control of the internet.
I heard that. Is that true?
It is, to the United Nations.
Okay, wait. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever's listening, I saw this the other day, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Pat. I forgot. The internet, as we know it,
I'm talking about our First Amendment right now.
the internet, as we know it, October or September 30th, is set to be turned over to the United Nations. Is that true? Please Google the Conspiracy Farm Army. Google that bad boy and let me know if that's legit. Because I heard that the other day, and I can't. I just, come on. I can't even imagine, dude.
No, man.
But we're conspiracy theorists. But
think about it. Think about what's going on in Europe right now, where people are being charged with crimes and fined and jailed for speaking out against Islam right now, right? Because the money from Islamic countries that's flowing in.
Where's this at?
Into the hands of the politicians.
Where?
In Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Europe right now.
You can get arrested for denying the Holocaust in Europe, dude.
Dude, now think about this. The woman who was, a guy was trying to rape her, a Muslim was trying to rape her, she sprayed him with pepper spray, and she got charged with assault and got fined. Look at that. That's what's going on in Europe right now. So there's people there that are listening. This is how messed up society is now. That people are listening to you and I, or choosing to turn us off, because what we're saying is so repulsive to them because their brains have been so programmed to accept it, or because they mentally can't conceive that people are this sick in the world.
And you know what? I give kudos to those people. That's a credit to them, quite frankly. It's a credit to their humanity because they don't go, they don't have the depth to go to see the darkness, right? I would, like we talked about the other day.
That's not kudos, dude. That's not kudos. That's ostrich bullshit.
That is, but at the end of the day, like I feel you, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's good to be informed as opposed to like not informed. But at the end of the day, it's like,
dude, I'm the guy that in a lot of instances, how tame and docile human beings have become. That there would be people out there who would see their sister or their daughter or somebody grabbing them, sexually harassing them, who would walk up and just say, hey, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where you and I would walk up and put our elbow through their fucking skull. Right? That's what needs to happen with this, because it's rampant right now in Europe, and it's going to get worse here in the United States if Hillary is elected, because she's going to bring at least 500,000 to 1 million Muslims in with no background check.
And you're absolutely right. And like
not against Muslims.
The thing I'm talking about,
against animals being allowed in.
No, of course not, dude. Yeah, I mean this is
the human zoo. Don't let the animals in.
Right. I agree. But that's what I'm saying. You got people who, when I say they can't fathom the depth of the darkness, and that's why they do nothing. It's just like they don't have that frame of reference. They mean, like you said, it's a self-imposed ostracization, or whatever, if that's a word, if you will, just burying your head in the sand. But the information is out there, and that's kind of what we talk about. People need to allow themselves to access the information without being scared about having their worldview shook a little bit, because it needs to be shook. This shit is crazy. What's going on?
Rewind. I didn't send a message out to all the patriots to go kill George Soros tonight.
Pat, you're just trying to get the swats at your door tonight.
Would I cry if he fell down a flight of stairs? Absolutely not. But guys, don't go out and shoot him. Okay, that's not what I was saying.
Yeah, at least recognize he's the problem, because, like I said, you vote. Right. We got to vote with our dollars, and that we only can do that once we start getting hip on what we're voting, spending our dollars on. So,
right.
The rabbit hole goes deep once again, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, we got Iowa Bison, Corey, programmed from the day we're born. Ain't that a statement? And is Pat a proud infidel? I think we know the answer to that question.
I'm just a guy from Iowa
who
loves my freedom, brother. That's it.
Ain't that the truth? And me personally, once again, to kind of rewind us to the beginning, I wish we would start really cherishing the freedoms that our flag represents. Let us love the flag. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. This is the greatest country on earth, and our flag symbolizes how dope our country is. Yes, we have problems, but this is a dope country, man. If you find another one that's doper, you let me know.
Right.
it just, again, there's a lot of shit going on we need to get hip to, and we got to stop getting so knee-jerk reaction, react to, some of these simple surface issues.
Yeah, don't let ESPN Disney. Don't let Disney control the ESPN focusing an entire 9/11 broadcast of the opening ceremonies of a football game where an American flag held by U.S. military as big as the football field
I saw that.
is not being filmed, and Colin Kaepernick is being filmed. That's Disney-controlled
Yeah.
ESPN. I won't even watch ESPN.
It was like, I love sports too, but I mean, it's so weird, dude, when I watch,
I watch it. I was at ESPN when they were making the transfer over and all the other garbage that was happening over there, dude. I'm telling you, man, you talk about turning that place upside down. Dude, now they have people doing shows over there who've never played sports in their life, and all 4 panel members are nobody. They didn't even play Little League baseball. Why would I listen to these people cover sports? Honestly.
Yeah, literally. Years ago, I fell off from. I used to watch baseball, football, basketball quite a bit, and honestly, I just literally around the time of the Pride Days, just literally shifted my focus to mixed martial arts. So it's like right. I can't knock it too much because I kind of geek out on that. But huh?
Are we still on Facebook Live?
Absolutely.
Dude, we haven't been kicked off.
We did once.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I know.
What subject were we talking about when we got kicked off?
I forget. We were doing the Clinton. I think we were doing the Clinton, talking about Clinton doing the stinky leg.
Kicked off again.
Have you heard that Chelsea Clinton's address is the same address as Metro Care Home Service? This is Paul Catton. He's asking the same question you just talked about.
Dude, they can Google it.
Her apartment is also listed as a hospital facility. So Pat Militich bringing the pain, breaking the news. Chelsea Clinton with a dual address, a hospital medical facility, as well as
what should we send there?
A some Iowa bison.
No, what should we send there?
To the facility?
No, for Hillary. We should send something for Hillary. Some medicine or something.
Some Metamucil, like something for mucus.
Or some Ritalin.
Send her a gibber, man. Send her a nice fat sack of some good stuff. She was actually on an interview coughing, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, you sound like you need some medical marijuana." She's like, "Oh, I need some." I'm like, "Oh shit, Hillary's smoking." Can't get mad at her. She needs some, dude. She's in there coughing up fetuses, whatever that was.
This has been a good episode, brother.
Hell yeah, man. We're an hour and 8 minutes in. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, so we're going to wind it down, ladies and gentlemen. This has, of course, been Jeffrey Wilson. And my boy, Pat Militich, who is back training for the Leadville. Is that correct, sir?
Oh, yeah. I'm training, buddy. I'm going to go train tomorrow at 5 a.m. We're going to hit it hard, do some crazy stuff, and I'm going to do it again.
Hit it hard, do some crazy stuff. That's what she said. I'm thinking next weekend that I might be in town for my 25th high school reunion, which, of course, you will be out of town for. You're out of town next weekend?
Well, I'm back on Saturday.
Ah, cool, yeah. I might have to dip down and maybe we could do a show Saturday night or something, or at least kick it.
Sit right here in my office and do it.
Eat some Iowa bison, absolutely. All right, folks, I hope everybody's enjoyed it on the old Face Space Live. Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for your time, and we will chat soon, brother.
Thank you, brother.
All right, everybody, have a good night, man. It's been the show of all shows, The Conspiracy Farm. Thank you, guys.